Welcome one and welcome all back to the Proving Grounds here for the final day of the week. I'm Mazel, joined by Joshi, and this time the Caster Cabana's representing in full force. I got Kangas with me, and we got Coco Refa today, so all three of us represent.
All three you guys.
Guys,
where's Nenny?
I know, we need Nenny in there. I'll just go get her really quick. Guys, are you ready? We get to see Taco Gaming. It ain't Tuesday. We got a lot of very fun matches ahead of us on this final day of the week, Joshi.
We do, but before we get into all the ins and outs of whether or not Taco Gaming can win on days that are not named Tuesday, we still gotta figure out what the hell we're all doing here.
Which is where the conversation of Proving Grounds comes to a head, because when you look at this tournament as a whole, it is the culmination of the NA developmental cycle for the year, and for the split at least. We have a full wonderful double elimination tournament. Man, words are hard.
If you got through play-ins. If you got through play-ins,
I was getting there. And after that first round of play-ins where we had a lot of those amateur teams trying to take down the academy teams, we get to that second round where we had a lot of very interesting moments across the last couple days. You see AoE Ginger Turmeric there taking down 100 Thieves Academy. But as a whole, you keep seeing the development for these teams. You keep seeing amateur trying to punch up towards Academy Kangas.
The biggest surprise is obviously going to be that big upset from yesterday. That ruined a lot of people's brackets.
Oh, yeah.
We had a good amount of people fill out their August Absurdity brackets. Sorry if you didn't get a chance to do it already, but hey, you missed your opportunity. I haven't gone through yet. That was my plan today, but I am subbing in as play-by-play for the day. I want to figure out, did any single person put AoE Ginger Turmeric getting the win against 100 Thieves Academy? Because obviously that's a big talking point coming out of yesterday.
Yeah. How many entries did you actually get, Kangas?
We got a total of 59 entries.
That's actually not bad.
I will say, I forgot to input my own. So I will not be in the running. I do have it. I saved it, and I'm not going to edit it, okay? But it's not in the official forms, so I'm not going to count myself towards the winnings.
I'm going to guess one person had AoE Ginger Turmeric over 100 Thieves Academy. One person. And it's probably based on the name.
Yeah, probably somebody that works for the team. Maybe one of the players.
Only one, huh? Interesting. I would love to hear that. We'll have to get a follow-up on that at least. But speaking of some of those games, some of the trajectories that we've seen already so far, we also got to hear from a lot of players yesterday in our interviews. So let's go ahead and hear what they had to say.
I mean, honestly, going into this series, I thought it'd be really easy, which, you know, it pretty much was, outside of the fact that the second game I got a little bored, kind of started running it down, but the entire time I was just telling my team, it's fine, we'll still win. So, I don't know, it was a fun series at least.
It's definitely a bit weird, you know, the durability patch coming in, and then now, like, Gnar and, like, the sustain is being nerfed. I definitely think that we're going to see a lot of other top lane champs that maybe people haven't shown yet as we go forward more into the tournament. But as far as my picks are concerned, yeah, so like when draft meeting happens, like my coach generally asks me like what I think is good, and then when I tell him what's good, he'll like write them all down on kind of like a dartboard, and then he'll close his eyes and he'll throw it. So like for example today, right, like they picked Gnar, and then he was like, okay, let's see what we're playing into Gnar, and then like on like the very like bottom corner, like it hit Silas. Like my coach isn't a good like dart like thrower, so like, it hit Silas, and I was like, oh well, that's good. So
I think we have a few issues like figuring out what we want to play. I think I mean, that's the thing, like I feel like if you've watched our like champ pool over the weeks, like some weeks we'll like prior one champ only. And for example, I had this streak where I played like 6 games of Lucian in a row, and then I played like Jinx only, and then before that I was playing Zeri. So like, I think we're pretty flexible. It's just like we're still trying to figure out like what we think our strongest champs are. So yeah, but I do think we're like probably the strongest duo in Academy. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, it's hard to say that after we lost to TL 2 games last week, but I still feel confident against them.
The difference was knowing in game 1 I had no control over the game. Like I was playing Tahm Kench. I feel pretty useless on Tahm Kench, so I gave Duo King the honor of Senna, and he's a really good Senna player, I won't lie. But I feel like I couldn't do much on Senna. I mean on Tahm Kench. So like the next 2 games I was like, just lock me in Draven. I've been spamming the crap out of the Draven. And I think Lucio has a mental block on Draven. From like knowing him for a while, like the champion just has a full mental block against him. So I was like, just pick me at every game against this team, and we'll just like win, you know? And that was that. Yeah, I mean, this whole year has been like quite the trip. Like it all kind of started with me winning like scouting grounds, the last scouting grounds ever, and I got getting picked up by 100 Thieves, having a long like 4 months like grinding and playing like on that team, getting second place in the end, coming short from 1 win off of winning all proving grounds, and then being teamless was kind of rough. Yeah, it always feels bad to think about it, but I use it as a motivation sometimes. Just like never want to lose again. You know, I don't want to lose that way again. I want to feel like I want to have control over things, and I feel like being an amateur more, talking to more people, I feel like I've shown like a way I can like lead a team and how I can like take resources and carry and put responsibility in my hands more often. So I think that's helped me a lot stepping down to like amateur throughout this year.
Wixie, you
Love-
feel useless on Tom Kench?
Oh,
What the heck are you
man.
talking about, man? That champion does so much damage.
Hey, did you see the come up though in game 2? Like, come on. You can't take that
Yeah,
away from
Wixie.
him. The heartfelt shout out to Wixie there.
No,
Oh,
I love
man.
Wixie. He's definitely a player that has had his in and outs of Academy, even just this split alone. Very excited to see that he's back in the Proving Grounds, taking down 100 Thieves Academy. And Wixie's one of these players that I feel should have been in the Academy system the entire time, but he was only ever here as a sub.
Yeah, I mean, we even heard him reference that. It's tough as a player to have that be your reality, but I'm happy that his mentality and his focus isn't on the past. It isn't on what happened. He's focused on the future and how he can still improve and use that as a learning moment. Because, yeah, I'm surprised too, Joshi. I definitely had high expectations and hopes for Wixie as a player. So I hope that they have a good run here. And already, I mean, that's turning heads, picking up a win against 100 Thieves Academy. So, but I do want to say, what in the Wixie's hair is going on over at Team Liquid Academy's
Well, you're just
coaching?
jealous.
Okay.
Hey, the
Just
80s
jealous.
called. Yeah, he was a little jealous.
Spawn's just throwing darts at a board and
that's
then
what
picking
I
champs
love.
based on that? I mean, come on. What's going on? How is this our best team?
I feel like we have to take that with a grain of salt because Bradley, you know, he's a very wholesome guy. But
I don't know. That sounds like Spawn to me.
It
It
does
sounds like
sound
Spawn to me.
to
All right,
some
Bradley,
extent.
what are you going to carry on today?
Just the Silas in the bottom left
I don't
corner
know.
because Spawn
We
can't
have
hit in the middle of the dartboard.
We have very different views on Spawn's coaching style. I can't see him doing that, but if that's a real story, that is absolutely fantastic.
There's no way. There's no way Spawn would ever do that.
Yeah, there's no way. I did get to go to their house last split though and get to see some of the behind the scenes like ethic. I think it's really kind of funny some of the wordings they use. So maybe you never know. We'll have to ask Spawn one of these days for sure. Something though that we have to talk about, and it's a bit of a serious coincidence. I don't know if it's a coincidence anymore.
Coinky dink?
It's the second
Okay.
seed curse, man. It's happening again. It happened already. Let's go ahead and throw in a little video we made for it.
Getting eviscerated by Barrage. Ladies and gentlemen, Barrage, are they going to actually do it? Are they going to take down the second seeded Academy team? They take down Yon, and with only our male.
Golden Guardians Academy knocking at the base of Cloud9 as the hopes of C9 moving forward are also gone.
Moose Hater chasing down Tenacity. This could be it, Smacks. The greatest upset in amateur history against the Academy teams.
It's an ace for the Academy squad, and that could just be the game. Thank you so much, Kelsey.
Okay.
Really appreciate the end there.
One
Yes,
point.
please.
1 point. It took 3 games for Ginger Turmeric to get their win. All the others were 2-0s, so I don't know. That call's
But
the biggest
what
upset.
about the comeback? What about the because the game one was
True, it was a
very
reverse
one-sided. The reverse sweep. I don't know, Kate.
True.
Your
That
analysis.
might make it better.
First
Your
game, it's
analysis.
a 2-0.
Oh my goodness. But anyways, Joshi, do you have any thoughts about the second Seacrest? Is just something we'll see throughout the rest of Proving Grounds as a whole? Or?
It has been remarkable how consistently we've had at least one of our top seeds just not do well whatsoever, right? It was also CLG during spring coming in as the first seed from Academy, and they bombed out relatively early. And so now that it's 100 Thieves, I have like mixed feelings, right? On the one hand, it's a second seed curse. On the other hand, they also did this poorly in the beginning of last Proving Grounds, and then they went all the way to the end.
Dark Horse, baby!
The thing about getting knocked into the lower bracket early is that every split we also have a team that goes from first round of the lower bracket all the way up into top 4. So maybe it's a blessing for the second seed teams. 100 Thieves Academy, like, all right, the pressure's actually no, there's no way that the pressure's off because now if they lose one series, they're just out of the
They're
tournament.
gone. They're gone.
Maybe it's the reverse. You need the pressure so that you're able to perform.
To be honest, with some of the moments we've seen from 100 Thieves, that pressure might help them, maybe hone them into a diamond. You never know. But on the other side of the table, our other top seed that has been representing in full force has to be Team Liquid Honda Academy. And we got all together and decided to come up with how many games we think TLA will lose in Proving Grounds. And you see it's a very nice little smorgasbord here.
Look.
Some very low, some very high.
Look, I just want to say that from the beginning of the tournament, if we had gone from the very start, the maximum possible games that Team Liquid could lose and still win the event was 11. That means that Beatdown thinks they're going to get more than halfway there after already winning their first series. But Kangas, gotta say, virtual high five across the board. Come through.
Joshi, Smacks, you're involved in this too.
Smacks, you're involved. You can have the other part of the high five. But he's also the one who said like the amateur was going to get 14 wins.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. That's the duality of an amateur analyst, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Apparently none of them are over Team Liquid, but
okay.
So,
let's put it this way. Again, framing wise, I want to frame the context of this. We think, as a whole broadcast, we've had this conversation many times, is how good is Team Liquid Academy compared to LCS teams? And a lot of us have them pushing up into maybe even a top 6 category, depending on the week. I'm confident in saying I don't think that they're going to drop a single game. Spawn, this is the moment that we clip. So Austin, our socials guy, send this to Spawn so that he retweets it because then we can all farm the Twitter interactions, Joshi.
There you go.
This is how you do it. This is how you do it.
I'm just looking at the teams that I thought were likely to take games off of Team Liquid in the first place, and those were 100 Thieves and Cloud9. And 100 Thieves, they've already lost, right? Unless they return to form, I find it hard to imagine they're going to be able to push Team Liquid the same way they did in spring. And Cloud9, while they were able to win their games, they were shaky. They were not the Cloud9 that we've been used to seeing. And we also saw Cloud9, while they thwacked CLG earlier in the regular season, they got thwacked right back by Team Liquid the next week.
Yeah, they absolutely did. I'm just going to give a caveat. Mine is the most base take, all right, because we do have a little bit of both. We got one loss in a best of 3, and then we got 2 best of 5 silver scrapes where they lose 2 games each. 5 losses total. I'll take that for a PG Grand Final.
That's the less base take. 4 losses would have been the most because that means they're undefeated going into upper bracket finals, which makes that 5-game series more impactful.
I feel like Team Liquid are gonna have a little bit of fun at some point. All right, we're gonna have a little bit of fun.
They only beat themselves though, so it's okay.
They only beat themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go ahead and talk about the schedule that we have going on today. Now we do have 2 simultaneous streams for the last time of Proving Grounds, which is actually crazy. On stream A, twitch.tv/LCS, we'll have Flight Quest Academy taking on Golden Guardians Academy, and then 100 next versus EGA. Should be a very, very fun series, at least both of them. Flight Quest trying to represent against Golden Guardians, and 100 next trying to hold on to the amateur keepsakes there. Speaking of amateur keepsakes, though, here on stream B, we have twitch.tv/Academy. Taco Gaming, not on a Tuesday, taking on IMT, Progressive Academy. And then we have CLG Academy versus TSM Academy to round it out, guys. I know Kangas feeling good about the CLG Academy, guys.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, sorry. I don't know.
Are you okay?
No, that was completely unprofessional. It's not Tuesday. It's not Tuesday.
It was very blurry. I couldn't tell what it was, but now I realize
they want tacos.
Okay. The interesting thing. This is a really fun set of matches that we have in this stream, obviously, but I actually have. I don't know if everyone else is the same, but when I looked at the bracket, I predicted a total of. No, actually, I'm forgetting. It was 4 or 5 amateur wins over Academy, and actually a lot of that I have from 100 Thieves Next taking wins off of Evil Geniuses Academy. I have them taking that series, so I think that the other streams also got a really, really cool match ahead of them. But of course, I'm excited for Taco Gaming because this is a team that is such a dark horse in this tournament. Hearing the players talk about their play style, their view of how League of Legends is played compared to the conventional style that most of the teams, especially the Academy teams that have, more rigorous coaching structures are coming in with, it just makes them the team that you want to root for.
And it's pretty impressive that they managed to get here at all. But going back to the amateur wins discussion, I think a lot of people's expectations were kind of upset with the upset that we had yesterday where 100 Thieves drops to Ginger Turmeric, but now this is where I was expecting them to get a lot of their wins as well. Taco Gaming is a team that seems to be surging at exactly the right time, going up against an Immortals team that has not been looking quite as good from the regular season.
Just want to give a special shout out. I did get to talk about at Path to LCS. Please go follow it. It is where all this is, all the information you ever need.
Wait,
but-
Magical always writes it down somewhere. I don't have
writes
a,
it on
I don't have a
something.
pen.
We need the magical edition. All right, Kangas, you failed. But we are going to talk a little bit more about Taco Gaming and Immortals Progressive, and especially when we go ahead and bring up the rosters. You were talking a lot about the Taco Gaming roster itself and a lot of the ways that we've heard them talk about their play styles, the way they approach the game, but it's against an Immortals Progressive Academy that I feel like has had some ups and downs, but there's a lot of potential there, Joshi.
Yeah, and this is definitely a roster for Taco Gaming as they start to come through that is really looking to potentially go really far in this tournament. There's a lot of potential, or there's a lot of veterancy coming through this for a team that has not necessarily had the same kind of success as a lot of their other predecessors. They now need to take down a lot of academy teams with players who've been playing on teams like Cloud9 Amateur, on a lot of collegiate teams for the past several years, and putting it together, it feels as though with the amount of fighting they've had to do to get here, it's almost a miracle that they made it at all.
Big names that I want to highlight from that roster from Taco Gaming. Obviously, Gorka is going to be one that comes to mind. We even showed that, like, the second seed curse, Gorka was on that Barrage roster when they got that big upset in that earlier Proving Grounds, the first split. And then Shochi's a player who's very young in the career. I had a lot of expectations and hype for him when I first saw him. This was back, I want to say this was also spring 2021 Proving Grounds. It might have been summer, but I was doing one of the coast streams, and I happened to watch a Sochi match, and he just 1v5 to fight at the end of the game and wins the series. And I was like, dude, Radiant's got like the best mid laner prospect of all time. This is crazy. And then his career maybe hasn't lived up to that level of expectation, but he's still a cool player to follow because I do think he has a really high ceiling.
Yeah, I especially am very excited into this matchup and see what we're able to see from this guy in the mid lane. But immediately got to start talking about Chad. Got to start talking about the Chad for Immortals Progressive, but the guy that really, I feel like, dictates the pace of play for Immortals Progressive, Joshi.
Yeah, I was actually looking at a lot of interviews coming out with Winnie yesterday, because based on like the clip assignments that we had, I thought I was supposed to get Winnie stuff, and then I realized, oh, he's not playing today. But he's a player that has a lot of similarities to what Chad has actually been talking about, right? Chad has been talking about how he wants to play his own jungle style. Winnie, or previously Winston, was another player that was right alongside him for a lot of his career in terms of trying to innovate. But Chad, you know, when he says he wants to play his own jungle playstyle, I feel as though he's just like one of the most psychopathic junglers that we've got. He just like goes for things. Who comes back in this fight? Only Chad.
It's just like, watch this, watch it, bam.
Yep. From
Chad,
the night.
It's literally from last split. It was so funny hearing other pros talk about Immortals, because they were like, okay, every time we prep against Immortals, it's not a matter of will Chad gank between level 2 and 3. It's which lane will he gank between levels 2 and 3.
Is it camp
we just
3,
need to
camp
be
5,
aware
or 6?
of where he's starting and where he's pathing to, because we know it's coming.
Yeah, he's definitely one of these guys that we have definitely seen a play style come from him. He loves making level 1 plays. He was actually talking about how he learned from Kenvi, the Immortals LCS juggler at one point, that, oh yeah, Lee Sin can't put a ward. He can't protect himself at level 1. He needs somebody else to do it. And if we just go for an invade, especially as characters like Viego or the Wukong who can just duel him at the very outset of the game, you're going to have a lot of success. And it means that Immortals has been very reliant on a lot of these plays that Chad likes making at level 1 going well in order to find some of their success.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
reminder, he's won a Proving Grounds. He subbed in for Kenvi last summer in 2021's Summer Proving Grounds. Took the whole title. That was an incredible story. So seeing his development, very fun to watch. I can't wait to see what he brings this split.
Yeah, I'm just really excited because you get a lot of the flexing from Chad in matchups like this. So I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table today. But speaking of bringing to the table, maybe we're bringing some tacos, but there's one man in particular that has the tacos that we got to focus on. It is Rovex for Taco Gaming, Joshi.
Yeah, this was a bit of a difficult decision as who we wanted to highlight, because there's a lot of players on this team that I feel can be ready to make the next step. But Rovex is a player that has been fascinating to me, right? We've been looking at a lot of players role swapping out of the mid lane to go play other roles. We looked at Bradley, we looked at Busio. Rovex is on that list as well. He was a mid laner for most of his career before he started playing support on and off in 2020, and recently has really delved into what it means to actually be a support. He's definitely seen a lot of transitions over his career because this guy's been playing for forever. He's been playing, I believe, since 2018 when he actually started playing with Columbia College.
Yeah, according to at least the wiki page that we have on his background and his history, it's one of those stories of a player that has always been striving and looking for that next step, that next opportunity, the next level of competition. And it's tournaments like this where we can see these Cinderella runs happen for these talents, for these players that never got an opportunity to go to scouting grounds, never got an opportunity to play an academy split, but is still had, you know, a 9th to 12th finish in Proving Grounds isn't actually that bad when you think about 20 teams. That's still pushing to top half of the teams in attendance. And I think that it's going to be really cool to watch, again, how players like his stories develop with this new ecosystem, with Proving Grounds the way that it is right now.
And you see him off on the bottom of the screen going,
exactly.
Oh my, wait, it keeps happening. Sorry, what's sorry.
No, we gotta get the
keeps,
tacos out of here.
It keeps happening, yeah.
For me, it's not only that we've seen him for a while, but it's also the flexibility that he's shown, the multiple different rosters that we've seen him be a part of, the fact that he is committed to trying to make this work, right? And for players, like competitive nature, like competitive drive, that is so important to me. And we actually got to hear a little bit more from him, so let's go ahead and listen into Rovex.
For Taco Gaming, we're not really a conventional team in how we play. Well, I think 100X is only good because they're really strict in their play, and they're very good at playing standard. So if you do make mistakes, you get slowly choked out. But yeah, our team, we cheese pretty hard, and if you die to our first few plays, it gets really oppressive to play against. Our bar is set to win PG. I think at this point, a lot of us amateur players, or at least for me and City, like we've been in amateur for a long time, and Gorka's former pro, Shochi, and Lars. Everyone's just playing for a long time. Like we want to make it really far in the tournament. So when we made this team together, like we were striving to get first and nothing under it. So even the upsets that we had going up until today, it didn't really matter because it's either we win the tournament or we don't.
Hey, you hear it from there, right? It is a last moment to shine, Joshi.
Yeah, you make it or you don't. That's what Rovex feels. And kind of reading between the lines, he's one of our players that has been playing an amateur for quite a while, right? A lot of the members of Taco Gaming have been doing that as well. And they've been sitting in the amateur. A lot of them have not necessarily had opportunities to move to the next level. And so it almost feels like this is the tournament where they're going to give it their all. They say, this is going to be the year. In 2023, I'm going to be playing Academy. And for players like Rovex and Gorka, who have been playing together a fair amount at this point, it is going to be looking at some players who have been around for a decently long time, right? Gorka was playing for Golden Gardens in 2020, or Golden Gardens Academy, and now Rovex, he's been playing for Columbia for 4 years. He's almost done with his college career, and he needs to push to the next level.
And you can see the steps that he's taking this year, especially because looking at his history, he never spent that long on any individual amateur team. He would sub in, he'd be on a roster for maybe a month. It was Columbia. It was collegiate that he was competing in. But this year in 2022, he's been with Taco Gaming since February. This has been a long stretch where he's committing to playing in the amateur ecosystem and really making that push. And I echo that sentiment, Joshi. You know, reading between the lines, this is a massive opportunity for a player like Rovex to step up and show us what he's got. And again, it's just so exciting because of the way this team plays. It doesn't feel like standard, I'll just say it, boring League of Legends where you can predict what's coming next and everybody's playing safe. This feels like you never know what Taco Gaming's going to do next.
And if you look at how Rovex's trajectory has gone over the past couple of Proving Grounds, right? He got 3rd in summer of 21 with Supernova. Then he got 9th in the last spring with Taco Gaming. Now he's on potentially the best team he could possibly put together. This is the team that needs to push deep for Rovex to find success.
I'm just shouting out another, mid laner going into the support role, finding a lot of strength there. I think that, the flexibility for Rovex as well, super huge. But I want to focus a little bit more back into the matchup itself, right? And especially where we're looking at for Taco Gaming to take hold of the game against Immortals Progressive, because we were talking about Chad taking pace of control, and especially the amount of pressure he puts on the map, Joshi. So where do you see Taco Gaming attacking?
I mean, I feel it's got to be in the bottom lane, right? We have been seeing that this bottom lane and Arrow and Joey, while they are very lane dominant a lot of the times, they aren't necessarily standing in all the right places. I have a almost infamous clip of Arrow jumping over a wall from last week. These are opportunities for Taco Gaming to try and attack that. And they said themselves they need to find a couple of early plays to go right, and I feel like that's the easiest way to do it.
That 3 seconds of silence that you gave after saying, Arrow, what?
Yeah,
It's burned into my mind.
cut it with butter. Wait, cut it with butter. Cut it with a butter knife. There you go. I don't know if you can cut things with butter.
If you
Yeah,
try
I
hard
wouldn't
enough.
recommend it. Maybe
I don't know,
other
though.
butter. Yeah, it's like diamond cuts diamond.
Don't
Don't do
I don't
that.
know if that
He
would
still needs to
work.
play his games.
Particularly. Yeah. I was
Okay,
gonna
you can
say.
definitely cut warm butter with cold butter. We can at least agree on that.
Yes, probably.
So with a cold
Before the
butter
cold
knife,
butter becomes
Lennon
warm
can
butter
cut
itself.
the warm butter statement of Joshi. There's something there.
Do you
There's
guys
something
just want
there.
me
Go
to
nuts with that
do you
Twitch
just-
chat.
do you just want me
Can we move on?
Go or like
ready for Big Bang.
I'll let you guys talk about the butter if you want. I thought we were talking about League of Legends today. I'm very confused. But I love that you talked about a little bit of the possibilities for Taco Gaming to enter this game in particular through that bottom lane. But apparently we hear that Champ Select is ready,
Yes.
so we're gonna go ahead and get right to it.
No more
longer
butter
we're gonna
talk.
be talking. No more butter talk. Kangas, Joshi, take it away for the first game of the day.
Bye, Lennon.
All right, thank you very much, Mazel Joshi. It's just us.
Just us.
Butter.
Now we can
also
talk as
got
much
some
about butter
pick
as
and
we want.
bands. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Margarinally.
There we go. We'll get some BTS in here a
can't
little bit
believe this
later
is
when we
our
see
time
some
now.
smooth plays coming out. But this is actually one of the series that I was talking about where I do feel as though Taco Gaming is, at the very least, not super far behind where Immortals is. I think this is actually one where Amateur can look for some of these big wins.
Going into this tournament and when I filled out my bracket, I had Immortals winning. But the more I hear about Taco Gaming, the more I watch their gameplay and have done
You want
research,
to believe!
I want to believe, and I start sweating for Immortals Academy, who have high expectations for themselves. When we talk to these players, they're always mentioning how they feel like they're way better than their standing show, than their performances in stage games show, and that they're always striving to prove to everybody, hey, no, we are a top 4 team in Academy. Like, they hold themselves to that standard, especially based on Spring Proving Grounds placement.
Yeah.
And I think to do that, you got to ban away some of these amateur picks. The Karthus, the Draven coming out here already. I think that Academy teams are starting to learn. You got to respect these amateur picks.
And we've definitely been hearing, right? I know Rovex has been very vocal in some of the interviews he's done during the Unified Premier days. He gives out free coaching advice. One, ban Draven. We're going to pick it every single time. It's the best champion on the patch. We're going to play it in the top lane. We're going to play it in the bottom lane. Also, Moonstone's broken. Just let me play Lulu every single time it's up. And so, Taco Gaming, they still have plenty of tools around. We have been seeing Gorka play a fair amount of standard things coming through, but this one, not likely to be standard. He's been playing the Wizard Forest, baby.
Ooh, yeah, AP Vars. We did actually see that in some of the highlight packages. And it's so funny that the first pick from Immortals Academy or Immortals Progressive is exactly what you expect from Immortals. A player like Pretty loves this champion. And now we get to see, is Taco Gaming going to play into that more standard control style of League of Legends, or are they going to show us crazy stuff here? Lissandra's locked in. Okay.
This has been Shochi's most played so far throughout the recent tournaments that they have played in the circuit qualifiers, right? He's played it, I believe, about as much as everything else combined. At this point, he's been putting a lot of games on this champion. Now, Taco Gaming, they have some very cheesy picks to potentially play through, right? AP Forest is one thing and one thing only. That's going to be blowing people up once he actually gets his ultimate off. And Lissandra, also, you lock one person down, you blow up that single target. And so, I'm curious how Immortals react to this. They have a lot of range.
Yeah, what's harder to get onto is something like a Sivir. That spell shield can keep her alive. The changes to Sivir as well means that she's not going to be as mana reliant necessarily in lane. I do like this kind of lock-in. It means that Immortals Progressive, they have some options for scaling later into the game. I do want to see something that can get them to that state, though. Okay, looks like a Viego for Chad. This would be in the ballpark.
Oh, Jarvan.
The pivot.
Wow. That is a bold pivot, right? We have not been seeing a whole lot of Jarvan recently, but it does definitely do that bridge. You have a lot of aggression coming out from this champion, but it will definitely fall off a little bit later on. It's not necessarily going to have the easiest time creating space for the likes of Sivir and Azir, not because it doesn't lock people down on the other side, but mostly because they can just leave, right? The Lissandra and the Kindred just hop out of the wall and say, that's cool, you're stuck over here, I'm gonna go hit your backline.
But think about how Chad plays and what we've been setting up for expectations around him in a tournament like this. He will play aggressive. He will play early. J4 is a fantastic champion to match that style of play, but you do bring up a good point. Taco Gaming, now that they see this, they can pick these champions that can answer it. I do love the Kindred. I feel like this is a champion that has been played a lot more in amateur this split than in Academy.
True.
And now we get to see City Witty pilot this one.
Yeah, and we also have to start turning our attention towards the top side of the map, right? We have Lawrence coming in for Taco Gaming and Vital for Immortals. And Lawrence is a player who played for a decent amount of time on the Cloud9 amateur roster while it was still around, alongside
Almost
players like
a full
Captain
year,
Shrimps. Yeah, and they had middling success, right? And Lawrence was a player that started off as somebody that we weren't super impressed with, but by the end of his tenure with Cloud9 Amateur, we were starting to see why they had picked him up. He had had so much development in the last year that we saw him.
And up against Vital, the solo queue prospect that Immortals Progressive chose to bring up to Academy, moving past that line of amateur players looking for an Academy spot. So a lot to prove here up against a player like Lawrence. So Jack's taken away. That is a classic Vital pick, but Yuumi is the next focus from Taco Gaming along with Pyke and Ikshan. Now we get to see what Taco Gaming locks in, probably for their support, as I assume they want to save that counter pick for Lawrence.
Presumably, right? And we've been seeing Rovix play a ton of Pyke as his most played. Beyond that, we've also seen a little bit of Singed, some Seraphine, some Lulu, but instead they're going right for the top lane. They already pick up the Gnar, and we've already heard from plenty of players how difficult the Gnar matchup is for a character like Yone. It's not something that Vital is going to have a whole lot of success on, and Vital has really been focused on Fiora, Yone, and Gangplank, and none of them are particularly exciting into the Gnar, so I really like this blind coming out from Lawrence.
Okay, hovering the Gangplank for right now. Let's see if he actually locks that in. Support picked last for both of these teams. That's very interesting to see in a draft phase. I'm curious what Taco Gaming is saving that for, and also what Joey wants to play blind into it, because we're starting to see a lot of scaling and then basically Chad to be kind of this bridge to get them to that point.
Exactly. And if this ends up getting locked in, I'll let you talk about it, because it is, in fact, your one trick. Go for it, go for it. Well,
it's my
Pantheon,
most
right?
played. My highest champion mastery point is on Bard. I have been playing mostly Pantheon the last 2 years, but I spammed so much of Bard for as soon as he came out. Very fun champion. You can play him a lot of different styles. I love champions that are flexible in what they can do. And Bard, he does a surprising amount of damage in the early game. You can look for those picks in lane and actually go for the engages, but he's best at roaming around the map. And a champion that's not going to be roaming much, presumably, will be this Janna, but does a fantastic job of getting things like that J4 off of your carries.
Yeah, this Janna is very interesting. Janna was a champion that for all of spring and most of summer, I was definitely looking at as a champion that was severely underplayed. It's so good, right? It's been rocking like a 55% win rate in solo queue ever since it got its mini rework, and nobody was playing it. But now...
I was just going to hop in and say, I will say I love this pick into the Bard specifically, because as a Bard, Enchanters actually kind of suck to play against, especially something like a Janna, because she's just got way faster cooldowns. You have your auto with the Meep, doesn't do as much damage early. Your Cosmic Binding is great, but Janna's got so much more that she can do to try and poke you out, and at a longer range, and it's just mostly point and click with that Zephyr. So it's actually going to be kind of tough for Joey here to have as big of an impact in this lane. It almost feels like Taco Gaming are playing to what you had been mentioning before. If they're going to focus on something, focus on the bot lane, because Varus Janna, you don't necessarily think about it right away, but kind of an oppressive bot lane duo.
A lot of poke going to be coming out from this bottom lane, and that's what we were saying, right? We are currently expecting that Gorka is more likely to go for the AP Varsh, to go for these one-shots, than he is to be going for either the on-hit, the crit, or the lethality styles of this champion. And that creates a lot of potential poke, because even though you go AP later on, it doesn't change the fact that you're just Varus to start the game, right? You have a lot of range, you have a lot of poke that you just throw, and Janna helps out a lot with that.
So I think Immortals Progressive, if I have to give a game plan for their bot lane, it will be try and survive out as long as you can, but also Option number 2 is that Chad could look at this bot lane, because in the early levels here, the Janna's nice to deflect a couple of roams, but if that tornado is down, that is a juicy lane for Chad to look at as we load onto the Rift for game number 1.
All right, and coming through, I gotta say, before we get too deep into this, I'm a little bit surprised with all of the champions that we are seeing coming through. As a reminder, this is the 12-14 patch. Dragons are stronger, potions are weaker, but also, Gangplank has been nerfed, Moonstone is less impactful, and Gangplank is a champion in particular that has been suffering so far throughout the 12-14 patch. You have less impact early on in the game, and your barrels will do about 5% less damage later on in terms of your ability to one-shot people, but you are forced to build crit, and so, it's definitely a bit surprising to see these drafts coming through. I have to say, I like, I want to say Terracotta, Taco Gaming's, picks a little bit better, with the one caveat that they don't have anybody that can really face check later on.
Would you say that this is a spicy taco?
Spicy taco? You know, you got like a
medium taco?
Mild spicy taco, right? You know, you get
Mild
a little bit of the
spicy, okay.
corn salsa when you go to Chipotle.
So if it's like the 5, like the scale of like yellow to hot red, this is kind of like the orange, right? Like the second tier.
You know, there's a little bit of spice, right? You got the Kindred coming through for City Witty. It's definitely something he's been rather familiar with. And it's also worth noting that for plenty of these players, at least City and Shochi, this is both of their first appearances actually coming into Proving Grounds. And now, this is their first opponent going up against Immortals, a very winnable matchup for them. I'm excited to see what they're actually going to be doing because they have such a great ganking combination to really attack pretty.
Catching up on the jungle pathing, something that we wanted to highlight was where Chad decides to go first. He's pathing topside, goes for the red buff into the Raptors clear, and now I think he's just going to go straight to the next buff. Okay, so it looks like top half of the map is actually where Chad wants to put the early attention.
And you're seeing a very different path already coming through for City Witty as a good barrel combo comes out from Vital. City is going to be going for a full clear, right? Because he's starting with the Krugs and Raptors, it implies that he wants to do quite a bit of farming and try and figure out where Jarvan is before he actually wants to do anything. And this has been one of the big difference makers between our academy teams and our amateur teams thus far, Genghis, is the academy teams tend to be a little bit better at actually making these early mid-game plans. We've often seen that the amateur teams will drop waves way more heavily than the academy teams when they actually try and make things happen on the map.
They'll drop whole turrets.
Whole turrets?
When academy teams prep things, you can tell that there's a little bit more future proofing going into the plan, whereas academy teams, it's just like, all right, we're here, let's go for it. Yeah. That's not, you know, that's a very generalized rule, but for the most part, we haven't seen that more prevalent for the amateur teams. Yeah, true.
Yeah, Immortals is the academy team that probably drops more waves in order to try and make things happen. And that's why I call Chad a psychopath in the most loving way I possibly can. I love watching Chad play because he always adds excitement to his games, but he will drop so many waves, he will drop so many camps in order to make things happen, and now,
no one talks about it.
Does he get spotted? Look for pings. No pings. I don't
see any pings. I mean, obviously, they could just verbally communicate if he was spotted, but
nope, ridiculous.
He's behind in the clear on City Witty, and he didn't get the coin flip on the scuttle. So City Witty actually gets, I believe, that first Kindred mark, if I was seeing that correctly on the minimap. It was kind of small, so hard for me to fully tell, but if observers could take a look at City Witty, I think we'll see a mark on that Kindred, which is always the best start that you can have. And Rovex actually going for a very early recall and heading top lane.
Yeah, I thought you said there was not going to be any roaming on this champion, Steve. Now he's already coming right on up here. He's already got, I believe he's standing with City Witty. This is them trying to make a play early, but there will be a ward to spot him out.
Vital's doing a really good job of winning the 1v1. Lawrence trading his health bar, but actually the way's in a really rough position for that. So Rovex will sweep it out, and that means that Immortals, they know exactly what Taco Gaming's up to. Taco Gaming know that Immortals know.
True, and this is actually a pretty good timer from Rovex, right? Because Gorka is still down in the bottom lane, they're not going to be missing a whole lot in terms of farm, but neither will Immortals. Joey coming up here, also, you should know this very well. He gets access to all those little chimes. We'll get a bit more.
He's going to portal through. Here we go. This is the type of roam that a Bard can go for. Vital might just get the kill anyway. First blood picked up by Joey. Vital barely survives, but that is a support roam, everybody.
Oh, that was so close. That was the difference between Vital getting his head bopped on like a field mouse and not. He dodges out from the hop. The little bit of extra damage not coming through is all he needs to stay alive. And now look at this. Joey on his way back down should be able to try and prevent the dive as well as get plenty of the EXP.
But it pushes Arrow back. Arrow will miss most likely 2 minions here. Let's see if he gets one of these. Joey actually stopped by Shochi, so Joey's going to be behind an XP now as the Bard later to get to this bottom lane.
Won't be too bad,
And
right?
I don't think too much was denied from Arrow, actually. So yeah, he's able to get most of that CS.
Yeah, they end up getting most of it, right? And so Immortals doing a good job counter-rotating up against Taco Gaming, and now they're the ones bringing Chad bottom lane.
And with that control ward again, Joey with the portal forward, flashes for the slow into Rovex, has the flash, and gets away from the flag and drag combo, but City Witty's here. Do they want a hard force? A solo kill in top lane as Lawrence just takes down Vital. Didn't even have to flash for that. Hopefully we can get a replay, because, yeah, level 6 Gnar, interesting. That is massive for Taco Gaming on the top half of the map.
Yeah, but Immortals, they don't seem like they are done with this play. Are they going to try and make something happen? Remember, this is the exact same spot I called out Arrow last time.
I mean, Rovex doesn't have flash, but the wave is trimmed. City Witty clears
they're
it all
waiting
out.
for
Gorka
City.
Gets for a reset. Oh, wait. No, let the backs complete. And then go for Gorka. Or let Rovex go back and kill City Witty. Either way, they pick one up. That is a Chad gank, everybody.
That is the craziest thing I've seen come through from Chad in a while. Look how many camps he could have been farming, right? He could have gone back into his jungle, but no, he wants to wait here because he knows if he finds the timing, he gets the kill. They get the Dragon. Immortals coming out on top with another crazy kill. But I want to see what happened top lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that they get the Dragon. He's down in CS, and City Witty should get to this top half of the map and get a second Kindred mark. Rovex even going here for a roam into the mid lane. Shoji flashing forward, trying to lock down Pretty, but hey, there's the shuffle right on Mag. Rovex, a level 3 Janna, still at 7 minutes, just completely popped.
And if you heard what Rovex said earlier in his interview, if the first couple of plays from Taco Gaming don't go well, they're a bunch of cheesers, it gets oppressive for them to play. They oftentimes lose their way back into the game. And so finding all of these plays going in favor of Immortals is absolutely brutal. But, oh, yeah.
Hits level 6 off of the hop, goes in, takes down Vital with the Mega Gnar. Nicely done, Lawrence. Nicely done.
That's honestly the second time, right? Because if you look... If we ever get a chance to look back at it, Vital should have died in the very first time that Joey came up top lane, right? Lawrence just missed a single skill shot, and Vital walked away with less than 50 HP. Hop does more than that. And so Lawrence, he's severely outplaying Vital thus far in terms of his actual ability to take these duels, but now is when the lane starts to get better for Gangplank, right? You get enough points into your Qs start to hurt, especially with the Grasp of the Undying, and now that the Sheen comes through, you can punish Lawrence a lot more heavily. So while Lawrence has done a fantastic job thus far, this is where we can start looking to Vital to see how much more impact he'll have on the game.
Good guy, Chad. Giving the next blue buff here to Pretty, as it looks like control of the mid lane will be the focus right now. Rovex still level 4. Joey's definitely hitting level 6 before Rovex does now, and Rovex is so far behind in XP. But it doesn't stop Taco Gaming from going for the next play. They're on the Herald first.
They have everybody here. They're going to be dropping at least 1 or 2 waves down in the bottom lane, but they should reward themselves with this Herald. It should be about even across the board. And look at that, the local gold coming through for everybody who stands around. Not bad.
Not
Taco
bad.
Gaming staying within a stone's throw, whatever the term is. Where Immortals
Stone's
is.
breath. Oh no,
Stone's
this is
breath.
back to butter knife all over again. Does a stone knife cut through butter like a butter? No, I'm not even gonna go for it.
We're not.
Taco Gaming
It's far
level
too
4
late.
on Rovex. Can he survive down here as Immortals look for another potential dive? Spotted on the control ward, they clear it out, and City Witty is hovering nearby. But Chad's getting a steal of a red buff. I don't think City will spot this. Well, he spots it, but I don't think he can stop it.
Yeah, I don't think he can do anything about it as they will back away. And so Chad doing a decent job staying relatively close in terms of farm thus far. And so far, we haven't necessarily been seeing the full power come out from Immortals, right? We are seeing that Arrow and Joey doing a decent job weathering the storm of the amount of pressure Varus plus Janna can put out on them. But later on is when the Sivir really comes into its own. It really levels up around 3 items. But the player that we haven't really looked at all this far has been Pretty. Pretty was a player that at the beginning of summer I wanted to see in LCS potentially over Power of Evil. But the thing that we always look at with Pretty, he is a fantastic player at punishing mistakes that other teams make. But he won't force errors. He's always the kind of player who looks for people to make mistakes on their own. And now it's going to be on Taco Gaming to not make any of those.
Pretty also doing a decent job in the laning phase when it comes to playing the Azir. Just getting ahead in CS over the Lysandra, trying to scale up as best you can. A player whose career, he came in 2021 and said bold statements like, I will be in LCS by next year. And now, a year later in summer, he's still trying to prove that. Vital dodging a gank in the top lane, uses flash to get away from Lawrence's flash engaged. The Herald's down though, and Joey, I love to see it, saving the turret from the Herald charge, and now looking for even more. Has the electrocute, that's a lot of damage onto City Witty with a knockout from Chad. Force out the Lamb's Respite, but City Witty's got nowhere to go. Has flash, doesn't look for the outplay, will just accept his fate.
And this is oftentimes the difference, King, is between the academy teams and amateur teams. Immortals not necessarily looking to make the first play this time, but they wait for Taco Gaming to try and make something happen, and they counteract it. And so that's where we're seeing a lot of this gold lead come from. Taco Gaming trying to rotate Rovix into the mid lane, into the top lane, not finding a whole lot. And now, while I was very pleased with the way that Lawrence was playing the first couple of games, the first parts of the game, it feels as though it might not matter as much because Immortals are finding counterplay up in the top side. Vital has now completed his Essence River, and the Gangplank is online.
And he teleports right back after completing it. So Lawrence, he doesn't get a chance to rest here. And yeah, he's starting to feel those parlays now, but he still goes in, gets the wallop stun. Doesn't have the ultimate though. So not getting the kill onto Vital.
Does come out very close though, and so we have to shift our attention to the bottom side of the map, looking at Shochi to be one of the big playmakers coming out for Taco Gaming as people are lining up towards the next dragon, but Immortals not going to let them come through, and because Lawrence is teleporting towards the top side, Taco Gaming going to be conceding over another dragon to Immortals. Remember, we're on 12-14. These dragons actually mean something now.
That's the second one, so we'll get our look at what the soul will be after this. And Immortals will only need 2 more dragons to get that soul. It is secured, and a mountain soul is the prize for Immortals Progressive if they can get the next 2.
Yeah. Remember, 12-14, every dragon, 50% more effective. It was a 6% bonus AD/AP. Now it is a 9% bonus AD and AP coming out across the board. And for players like Azir and the Gangplank that really rely on this big burst of damage, really has a big effect. So Taco Gaming, as I start to fall behind, the player that I'm looking at,
Okay, Rovix,
not that.
in trouble, pops the ultimate, and flashes right back into the Bard ult, dodges out the Cosmic Binding though, so Rovix not punished necessarily for that, but slightly awkward interaction there between Immortals Progressive and the support for Taco Gaming.
Yeah. So now, we always got to ask, right, even though it is starting to look a little doomed from our God's Eye perspective, it doesn't always feel that way when you're playing in the game. And so the players that really need to kind of step up and look for opportunities to make plays are going to be Shochi and Gorka. They're the ones with a fair amount of gold. They're the ones with the go buttons for the team. You just point and click with Shochi, and then you just shoot and click with Gorka, and you just lock down individual targets, and you can blow somebody up from a range that they cannot interact with. And that's what Taco Gaming is really going to have to focus on in the next couple of minutes. But these players are so poor at this point. They don't have any money. They're down CS. They're down a ton of plates. And Shochi going for a Leandri style build doesn't have the same kind of instant burst he would have if he went for either a Luden's or Everfrost.
And the fact that Immortals Progressive get the turret first is massive for them. Arrow and Joey push forward, and Vital use the Gangplank ultimate to clear out an entire wave. So Taco Gaming, they're even slower to that take, which means 2,000 gold lead for Immortals Progressive. They're feeling really comfortable. Leandri's just finished by Shochi. We could potentially, over the next, like you said, couple minutes, see Taco Gaming finally go for their team play, because they haven't really grouped up yet. We haven't seen a contest for a Herald. We haven't seen a contest for a Dragon. All these kills have been happening from these little side lane skirmishes. I can't wait to see what the 5v5 looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine, right? As we've been looking at Proving Grounds, you haven't been seeing a whole lot of grouping up, and Pretty recognizing a mistake, going for the punish. Go bot, go bot, go bot.
Okay, how much damage can Gorka do right here? As if we look at the bot lane, Pretty is going in onto him. The ultimate's used, the flash is used. Gorka cannot find the outplay. And Pretty picks up a solo kill. Shochi in trouble in the mid lane as well. Joey with the rest of Immortals Progressive will clean him up, and it's not over! Chad finds a flanking position onto Rovex. Lawrence with a big ultimate to the wall. City when he's going forward, looking for even more. Lambs just bite down, no flash available, and he is routed. Immortals Progressive pick up kills across the map.
And it's just a little bit better set up. Pretty in the bottom lane finds a punish onto Gorka, and Immortals gonna reward themselves with 2 objectives. You get the mid lane turret, you open up the map. You get the next Rift Herald. They are getting all of the objectives across the map. And so Immortals, while it's not the same kind of clean gameplay we've been seeing from the top of the Academy teams, we are still seeing a very clear difference thus far between the Academy squads and even the best amateur squads that we have. The first couple plays for Taco Gaming haven't gone well, and it's been Immortals creating so much pressure on the map.
And it's so accurate to the narrative that you had set up at the very beginning. Taco Gaming will go for early plays. If they don't work out, it looks rough afterwards. Let's get a look, though, at how Immortals Progressive found the pick onto Shochi.
I mean, it just feels like he's a little bit too far, right? He has his flash, he has his ultimate, but none of them really matter. I think he actually tried to use it onto Arrow there. But after that, I really like that Joey and Arrow just recognize, like, yeah, we don't actually need to stand and deliver. We don't need to be here. We don't need to give City Witty any opportunities to try and turn these play around and get a couple of kills on the backside. We got Vital and Chad to come in and do that job for us. And so Immortals not giving anything back on the map at all. And now Varus gonna be struggling. It's not the AP Varus like I was hoping for. Instead, it's going to be the Lethality Varus, which its Prime is coming up soon, but the Immortals are already well past that.
Immortals also now have the inside track of this third dragon. It's not going to get easier for Taco Gaming as another Bard ult goes down. They catch Gorka freshly off of a flash cooldown, but Taco Gaming, they still want to go for the fight. Shochi goes in. Can they find anything? They get 1 kill, traded back. Lawrence with a massive ultimate right there. Wallop misses onto Chad, and here comes Vital to give reinvigoration for Immortals. Big barrel combo knocks City Witty down a couple of health tags, and Vital gets a double kill onto him. It's just Lawrence left alive on Taco Gaming, and Immortals, they smell blood. They want this. Joey with the portal forward, getting some damage, and the binding lands. Lawrence, you can't stand between a Bard and a wall. That's rule number 1, and a tier 2 turret claimed by Immortals.
And a dragon as well. 3 straight dragons so far. Joey in particular been impressive so far this game, right? Going top lane, turning around Vital's lane by finding the kill onto Lawrence, getting the Rift Herald to stop its charge that's going up into the top side. Now finding some of the engages in the mid game. Joey in particular has been stepping up this game in order to make things happen for his team. The Bard coming through as the primary engage, trying to speed run their way through Taco Gaming.
Joey has been sniping these. It has been a treat to watch this champion play at this level. 13-2, and most of that done from the support players setting up these plays. And now Immortals Progressive are in a position where they can easily close out a game with this next dragon picked up. 4.5 minutes gives them soul. That will give them so much control over the team fight around the Baron, and boom, Bob's Your Uncle game could just be over.
Thanks, Skimmy. It's been a while since I've heard that one. But while we wait for the next couple of objectives to actually spawn, I do want to tell a little bit of the story of how Taco Gaming was actually able to get here, because they were not supposed to be in this spot whatsoever. They actually were playing in the most recent circuit qualifiers after replacing multiple members. They were playing with Eclipse and Ayukura in the top and mid before they switched to Lawrence and Shochi. But when they actually played in the second circuit qualifier, they had already lost to Noord, a team that was already on par to rocket through the second qualifier and find their way here to Proving Grounds, but that team ended up disbanding. And from that position, Taco Gaming, having just lost to them, won every single game, or not every single game, but every single series in the maximum number of games. They went 2-1 over Fear, who had done fantastic in the previous tournament. They went 2-1 over AoE, knocking them into another third place finish, and then they beat 100 Thieves next, 3-2 in the finals of the most recent circuit qualifier. These guys have absolutely broken all the odds in order to even make it here. Now they need to do it again in order to try and turn this game around.
Now it's the level of competition that we see in Academy. throughout the season. Immortals, Progressive, they've been scaling and they've been looking for proving grounds to hit their peak outside of the regular season. And now Taco Gaming have to find a way to either get back in this game or more realistically get back in the series. They do still have opportunities, but a pick out of Chad is a great start. City stunned into the wall and absolutely popped. Put back in the chicken coop as Lawrence with a massive Mega Gnar ultimate, but still not enough damage. Take down Vital, so a double kill. Pretty picking up 2.
It's looking smooth like butter. Right now, across the board, Immortals not giving any opportunities for Taco Gaming. Chad instantly seeing the hop over from Xenius goes like, oh, just kill him. He can't do that. Jump on him. And immediately, Immortals are ready to turn things around. I was waiting for the objectives to spawn back up. You know, do Immortals want to go for the Baron? Do they want to pick up the Dragon? They have so much tempo. They all get the resets off at the same time. Everybody's coming onto the map with their teleports. They can be anywhere on the map that they choose to be, and they do the objectives so fast because they have the Azir.
I have a sneaking suspicion Taco Gaming likes salted butter right now, Joshi. They're probably feeling that way currently as they are heavily in the hole against Immortals Progressive. Game 1 is all green today as Pretty 404. Everybody on this team rocking impressive stat lines. There's only been 2 kills and 2 turrets picked up by all of Taco Gaming. So it's moments like this where you got to start saying, okay, well, we know Taco Gaming look for cheesy plays. Can they find one? I don't think we're going to see it as Lawrence, unfortunately, is the recipient of a little bit of that dairy. He's getting damaged by Joey. Vital can't get the kill. Okay, Lawrence gets out.
Stays alive, but what can Taco Gaming do with that? Not a whole lot. They're still losing all of their jungle. The only thing I'm surprised by is that Immortals didn't try hitting the Baron immediately, right? Azir plus Jarvan does so much work because it's the attack speed. Azir loves attack speed when he's hitting objectives. And so now Immortals shifting their attention back over to the bottom side. They can choose which objective they actually want to go for, and they want the Gorka objective.
Tempered Fate misses. Gorka does not have to burn Flash. Those are the kind of ambitious Bard ults. I actually like to save them for when you're on the objective, because you can either throw it at City Witty to stop him from looking for a steal, or, you know, when they're preoccupied on engaging, you're more likely to hit it. But either way, I mean, it's a relatively short cooldown.
On the Bard ult, on like whether or not you should get a flash off of it. If you are on the same, if you as Bard are on the same screen as your target and you put it dead center on top of them, they need to flash. But if you have to move your camera at all, they can move out of it. Right, and that's true. That's true as long as they have 400.
If they have Mobies,
If they have 400 movement speed or less, that's the rule.
Okay. Wow, I'm a Bard main. I didn't even know all that information.
It's okay. I remember learning that one from
I can
Chime
promise
back
you.
in the day, actually.
Oh, no. Let's not start the Chime plays Bard train here again.
But he does.
Big engage coming in from Immortals. Pretty, though, immediately stunned down. This is the composition from Taco Gaming, but these barrels are smacking. Lambers by you, City Witty, keeping everybody alive, keeping everybody healthy, along with Robex. This composition's actually pretty tough to kill when they group up, and Immortals are not all engaging as a team. Tempered Fate went wide. Pretty went in early. Taco Gaming have a window here. They can look for a little bit more. Slow on to Joey. Joey could be in trouble right now. Flashes away. Shochi hasn't used Flash yet. Lawrence jumping in, looking for another slow. Cannot land it. Vital with the flank right here. He's running right at Gorka. You got to be careful if you are this Varus.
And they're already running back in. Remember, Dragons have a lot more extra HP. They take a lot longer to die. And Vital, is he caught out?
Really awkward position. Vital's still on the flank. He used the flash. He will not have the ultimate, and he's half health. If Taco Gaming see Vital all alone, they can just pounce on him. So Shochi's actually walking that way. They realize there's a gangplank somewhere up there. But now it's all about the Dragon Pit. Who can get in here? City Witty's in the pit right now. Chad's very low. Vital looking for the flank. Joey helping him out right now with the shuffle from Pretty. He's completely protected. The Azir's doing it right now. 1-for-1 trade so far, but Pretty should be able to clean this one up. The Temple lands onto the Dragon, but nobody of the enemy team. Pretty's taking damage, but he's got the range. City gets the steal, but can he survive? Joey with a double kill, and Pretty as well. 20-4 on the scoreboard.
Oh, they get the Dragon. They stop the soul, but it costs them everything. All 5 members of Taco Gaming end up going down in that play. Shochi even changing the Summoner spellbook in order to get his second smite. But as you called out, Steve, you already saw Joey just ulting the Dragon to prevent the smite from coming through. And now, as IMT are faster back onto the map, they get to the Baron first, and they can start it before City Witty can even get there.
Everybody is booking it to this objective. Rovex will be able to drop a ward over. Shochi has teleport. So Shochi will actually go to this bottom wave to try and correct it a little bit. He's probably looking for that. Lawrence has teleport as well. Where does Rovex want to drop this? You're spotted. They have vision. Rovex got to play this carefully. How do Taco Gaming want to approach? They got to go quickly if they're going to teleport. I think they just give it at this point. Yeah, that's just a Baron over to Immortals Progressive.
And that's just the understanding of tempo, right? Understanding that all your players are there first. They find the ultimate.
Tempered Fate, the slow from the Gangplank ultimate allows such an easy setup for Joey, and Immortals Progressive can just run through Taco Gaming. Nice double kill for Vital, and it's a 2v5. There's no shot. Shochi, Lawrence, what you got? Let's see it go down with the bang in game number 1. A sweep and an ace for Immortals Progressive.
We had one spot where it was looking a little bit questionable from Immortals, but other than that, they were in control this entire time. We saw Immortals, the Academy team, putting a stop right there, and Mazel's got to feel pretty good. He said amateur teams are only going to get 3 wins this entire tournament. Immortals trying to put a stop to one of the best contenders.
Immortals running through Taco Gaming like Taco Bell running through Cubby.
No!
They will take game number 1 and move up 1-0 in this series.
Mazel, why'd you do this to him? Why do we have to make that reference
That
through?
was a Mazel joke that he wrote in the Discord.
Oh,
so
man, we were doing so well with all the bad butter puns and references coming through. We got the churning, we got the BTS, we got all kinds of knives, and now I gotta think about Cubby's Taco Bell.
Yeah, this is what happens when they sub me in last minute. Shoshi with zero prep.
Zero prep,
You know,
there you
we just
go.
gotta roll with the punches.
But-
Okay, but I mean, really strong performance from Immortals Progressive. Obviously, this is a team made a deep run into Spring Proving Grounds despite not having the best regular season performance. And it feels like this is just the identity of this team now. When it's crunch time, when it's these high moments where it's like, okay, it's do or die, we gotta perform. They are a team now that are showing that they can perform at that level.
And the player on Taco Gaming that I'm really excited about, I was surprised to say this even now, but Lawrence looked quite good throughout the entirety of that game. He was really taking it to Vital. He had some rather large lane advantages, and he did his best to actually try and make up for the fact that the rest of his map couldn't do a whole lot. He ended up going a little bit too far and dying once or twice trying to make these plays happen, but the fact that he's still looking for it as a situation where you are so far down, just trying to play for your life, they said it themselves, it's either you win the tournament or you don't. You gotta be willing to take those risks.
Lawrence's individual performance was fantastic, but the team couldn't get their early game off the ground, and Immortals Progressive, again, strong performance from them. Joey, what a performance on this Bard. I love this champ. I love it when we see players flex on it, and that's one of the cooler Bard performances we've seen in a while. He showed all the tricks of the Bard. The level 3 roam top lane, you know, portaling over the wall. He throws a Tempered Fate to stop a Herald charge on a turret. He stalls an objective with the Tempered Fate on the Dragon, showing all the limits of this champion. Congratulations, Joey, on that performance. With that said, we're going to send it to a short break before we are back for game number 2 and a little bit of fun on the Analyst desk. So we'll see you there.